You're listening to The Ladies' Room. I am Ira St. Moran.
And I'm Jennifer Sanders.
All right, so we are so excited. Welcome to The Ladies' Room. We have the Caeresa Richardson with us. Now, she is an engineer turned boutique owner, turned just amazing entrepreneur who is truly an inspiration to me. Iris, you recently did a story on her, and I know she's an inspiration to you as well.
Yes, I absolutely love Caeresa. I love her. Her store is a whole vibe. So we're going to get into all that later. But Caeresa, welcome to the Ladies' Room.
Thank you. So first of all, I have to say, I am so honored to be on your Ladies' Room. Y'all know I've been following you guys for a while, and I reached out to Jennifer maybe like last year. Okay, when am I going to be on this? Because I'm feeling some kind of way because it's so phenomenal. Thank you guys so much. I'm honored to be a part.
And we're happy to have you, girl. We are happy to have you.
So you are the owner of Gypsy Freedom. South Salina Street in Syracuse has just been blessed by the Can you talk a little bit about just Gypsy Freedom and what people can expect from when they walk inside?
Yeah, so Gypsy Freedom, we are proud to be Central New York's first sustainable fashion boutique. And really what I'm doing there is we're providing an elevated boutique shopping experience, as I'm sure you experienced while you were there. And what I wanted to create with Gypsy Freedom was a place where women could shop and support brands and organizations that align with their values. So really, when I was thinking and concepting Gypsy Freedom, it was honestly just me creating a place that I personally wanted for myself and looked around and didn't see. So I plopped it right down in my own backyard. So I'm happy that other women enjoy it. People have been coming. We've only been open for a week down here. But as you know, I was a pop-up shop and an online shop before opening the showroom. So yeah, so we're really excited to be in Syracuse.
Which is amazing. So, okay, we're going to go back to about a year ago. I think it was a year ago, Caeresa, when we were at Westcott, the coffee shop in Westcott. Y'all, well, first of all, let's just talk.
Boxes for me.
Yes. Oh, yes. She put me to work as she usually does. Whatever. Anyone who knows Caeresa knows that's what's going to happen. So she was doing a pop-up shop, but before the pop-up shop, we just sat down and we talked about our dreams and just kind of what we wanted to do, because I think we were both in a space where we were so busy, we were worn out, we were tired, we were stressed, we just weren't, we weren't really in this good mental headspace. So Caeresa was talking about her dreams, but y'all, like manifesting. The power of words and what that does, she was literally, everything that she was speaking, I'm seeing happen now. So when people ask me, why are you so hyped? I'm like, this is I've seen her start from the very beginning. And I feel like one of our mentors says, Gwen Weber McLeod, shout out to Gwen, you are literally living your wildest dreams. That's what I truly feel like.
And I am, and I do feel like that, and doing it intentionally, as we talked about, God, it was literally only 6 months ago, Jennifer, believe it or not.
Serious?
Yeah. So, so I think honestly, my story and how we felt during that time, every woman feels like that eventually in their careers, because we're moving so fast, because we have to. It's just in our culture, especially as Black women, to be that way, right? We're just taught to be, you got to work harder, 2 times harder, 3 times harder, faster, so we don't even look at what the impact that's having on our bodies, on our minds, on our emotions. And I think last year I got sick and I had to look at it. So I had nothing else to do but look at what I was doing, how it was affecting me, and what I truly, really wanted to do, and what I really wanted my personal legacy to be. And then also what I wanted my daughter to see. I didn't want her to see, what I and many others saw growing up. I didn't want her to see a stressed out mom. I didn't want her to see someone who was just working to pay bills, and then having a good job sometimes, puts you in that space where I can't leave because I got to pay these bills. So I didn't want her to see that. So really for me, it was doing something out of the box that was my wildest dreams to provide the example to others that they could also do the same.
So you talked about the job that you had before, but if you could go into what you were doing before and how that job kind of inspired this new venture of sustainable clothing.
Yeah. So as you all know, I'm a degreed engineer. And I retired last year after working for 15 some odd years in engineering. And really, so my background in engineering was in manufacturing. And I worked in several factories and managed product lines. I've seen the entire distribution chain from sales to technical side to project management. And when you're in and out of factories as much as I was, and job sites as much as I was, you really get to see the environmental and human impacts that manufacturing has. And I personally just took that on in my own life to figure out, okay, well, how can I personally, reduce my carbon footprint and things like that. My most recent role, I worked for a large utility, and there is currently a huge conversation on electricity and sustainability in general because of global warming and all of these things. So I took it on, both me and my husband took it on ourselves to sort of modify our own personal lifestyles, do our own little part. Because it really does matter. It really does matter. Little steps, turning the light off at the end of the day. But then more recently, our most recent election really made me want to figure out how to, in every aspect of my life, live my values. So not just incorporating sustainability, but how do I vote with my dollar and support brands and organizations that support me and that align with my values. And so I had a hard time doing that when it came to fashion, when it came to the clothes that we wear on our back. I had a hard time finding brands and finding stores to shop at that had very wearable, realistic clothes. When you look at sustainable fashion, particularly, it's usually, these boho hippie style. I had to go to work. I couldn't wear stuff like that. So trying to find brands that really aligned with my everyday life was difficult. So that's what sort of launched me on this sustainable fashion journey, and what forced me to start doing research and to see, just the serious impacts that that fashion has on our global economies and our global world.
So, Caeresa, what was the moment for you where you knew, like, I need to transition from this career in engineering to really going full throttle after this dream that I've had? And you said that it wasn't just something that came to you overnight, like you had really been thinking and planning this out. At what moment did you know, I want to be a full-time entrepreneur? I'm going to leave this wildly successful career by, the world standards and transition into really grinding and really, really living out my dream? When did that light go off and you said, I'm ready?
Yeah. I don't think, honestly, there was ever just a light switch that went off. For me, it was just, I still don't feel ready.
Wow.
So there's a lot of, as an entrepreneur, this is very, very hard. And I tell my husband all the time, for the first time in my life, I actually feel proud of myself. Out of everything that I've ever done, this is very, very, very hard. It's a lot of just talking to yourself, bigging yourself up when nobody is. So I still every day feel like I'm not ready. I make mistakes all the time. Last year when I physically got sick, I decided I had to figure out some way to change my lifestyle to make myself happier, to just be happy and normal and feel in sync with myself. And I knew that my prior career path would not lend that to me. It just wouldn't. So I gave myself a few months to really just think about it. And Gypsy Freedom has been gnawing on me for years, at least over 10 years. And my biggest fear was, could I financially take care of my family?
Yeah.
That was really my biggest fear. So I think what really made me comfortable and ready, I don't want to say ready, but more just comfortable in my skin to go out and do this, was having a clear financial plan. And so writing things down on paper, putting together a budget, figuring out like what our actual in-home income had to be in order to live, you know, and give our daughter the bare essentials that we felt, you know, because my bare essentials is not the same as some other moms' bare essentials, you know. So the way that we wanted to raise her, like really legitimately putting that down on paper and putting a plan in place and then working the plan really made it more comfortable for me, because that's what we do. That's what I do at work all day, right? I put together plans, I write them down, and then I execute them. So for this, it was really that, and that made it a little bit more realistic. Now that I'm out here in these streets and I've just dived into the water, girl, I'm scared every day. I tell you, I'm scared every day. So I don't know that you ever 100% feel ready. But if I'm speaking to anyone who's considering entrepreneurship, I would say definitely putting a plan in place will help you feel a little bit more comfortable.
Definitely. Prepared.
So what is the response? Okay, I'll back up. Jennifer, I think this is a way we're gonna get you to come back to Syracuse, because you have to visit. Yes. You have to visit the store. But when I tell you, because I've been in here a few times, and you talk about being put to work, we've been at work at Gypsy Freedom, but I love doing it. But it's a whole vibe. Like, I can't even, it's just, I don't know how to describe it. If you're in the Syracuse area, you definitely should stop by and just check out just the stores. It's beautiful. What has the response been now that you're open and the
people are happy, and they have been waiting and looking for something like this for years, just like me, just like us. So like, I feel like, I don't even know, like people say like, oh, did you expect it to be like this? Like, yeah, I kind of did. That was why I put it together like this. But to see, like, to actually see people in the space resonating with it the way that I hoped that they would and believed that they would, is like this outer body experience. But people are really, women especially, they're very happy to have it. Men, I think, are scared and they don't want their girls to step in there because they are very excited. They're just like, take my whole wallet.
Girl. And here's the thing, even when you were doing the pop-up shops, I mean, it literally, and Iris, I think I even told you, literally this corner in this hipster coffee shop, she transformed it into like this fairy tale. I mean, I was like, how do you do this? And I couldn't even help. I couldn't lend my services because you have to have an eye for that. And I feel like you really have an eye. And the thing that I love is you're so strategic when it comes to picking out the brands that you put in your store. Like, you're very, very intentional about that. And I think that really aligns with the mission of the store.
Yeah. And I think that's our value proposition, right? That's what Gypsy Freedom offers to our customer. One, the elevated shopping experience. So having a beautiful space that you can come in and slow down and look at things and try things on and feel the girly things. Like, I genuinely miss that. I miss those days where my mom used to take me shopping with her to our downtown in Buffalo. And it was like this big girly experience. You used to get dressed up and they'd give you tea when you walk in, you know, like, y'all remember that? Like, it doesn't exist anymore. So there's that. But then the other value proposition is our brands, and me being very, very conscious about what I bring into the store, because I really want women to feel like they are a part of something bigger than them. They're a part of this community that's conscious and supporting this conscious consumerism.
I love that.
Beautiful. So I guess, what advice, you talked about it a little bit, but what advice would you give to other people wanting to just start whatever it is that they want to start?
Definitely write down like every day, whatever you think of about your idea, write it down and then put it into a plan. And then before you execute the plan, one thing that I did, and one thing I've actually always done as a part of my career, is incorporate shadowing as a business strategy. So like when I graduated college and started in engineering, and they sit you down at a desk and say work, right? The first thing I did is I went out on a factory floor and I shadowed factory workers, I shadowed other engineers, I just shadowed people to see like, what do you do every day? Like, what do you need help with? What is my role and how does it interact with yours? And before I launched Gypsy Freedom, I did the same thing with another retail store locally. One, because I really didn't know what I was doing, right? Going from engineering to retail. But two, I wanted to make sure I understood my customer and that I captured their needs appropriately. So that's sort of what shadowing that another retail store locally gave me. And then also my pop-up shops gave me that as well. That was very much a strategy to test the market, do some market research, identify who my customers were, what types of brands do they resonate with before you just dive into the water, right? So that's always going to be my advice. How can you test out your idea first? And like, how can you quantitatively test it out? And then like, who can you shadow to learn from before you just go out here in these streets, because it's really scary once you do.
And the thing is, you make it look so easy though, which I think is beautiful, but I know the challenges that I know it hasn't been easy, but you, Caeresa, seriously, like you make it look, when I first saw your social media, I said, who, and this is when you first started, I said, who did this for you? Give me some hints and tips and everything, but you were doing literally everything yourself. And, obviously your team is growing and all that. What mistakes though did you make that you would like to share and kind of help other entrepreneurs on their journey to not make those same mistakes and, be a little more successful as they pursue their dreams?
Yeah. I would say the first mistake was not looking at the financials, right? Like not actually literally looking at every detail. And this is something I wouldn't do in my own personal life. I wouldn't do at work. I would, have all the I's and T's dotted. But with this, since I really didn't know what I was doing, I didn't initially develop a financial plan in a way that I should have. So I think that it was one first mistake that I made that I encourage others not to. The other is not knowing my customer. Again, and not knowing your customer and knowing what they need. I have taken it to the point where now all I think about is my customer. Who is this Gypsy Freedom girl? What does she want every day, all day? And how can I help her? That's literally all I think about. When I first started, I was thinking about buying things and selling things, buying pretty things, selling pretty things. How can I take more pictures to get these pretty things sold? That is not how any business works. Your business works by the people that support you, and you find who they are, latch onto them, and then grow that base by speaking directly to that person. So I'm really, really, really focused on, like, people ask me, oh, does Gypsy Freedom carry men's? Are you going to carry men? No, that's not my customer right now. Like currently my customers are not asking for that. They want what, I'm providing. And that's what I look for every day. What do they want? How can I talk to them every day? And it honestly goes all the way down to your marketing, like your social media strategy, trying to do what the big guys do. That's another mistake that I made, like trying to follow what, name whatever big retailer, they have totally different goals than you do as a small business. So again, identify your customer and literally give them exactly what they're looking for all the time, including in your social media content.
I love
Great
that.
advice, Caeresa. Great advice. What advice would you give your younger self?
My little Caeresas, I would just say hang in there. I think one of the things when I look back on, especially like high school days and college days, everything seems like so, like when you have a problem, it's like it's the end of the world. Like this is gonna, you know what I mean? Everything seems so big. Every challenge seems so big. But then you go through it, you get through it, and then you're on to the next one. Like life is so finite. The challenge you're going through today, you're more than likely gonna laugh about. And I don't even want to say a year, in 30 days. If you remember it in 30 days, maybe it's a big deal, right? But in 30 days, return to that challenge and then cry. That's probably the advice that I would give her. Just hang in there. Life is so finite, and it's not that serious.
Definitely. Oh, I love that. It's not that serious. Real quick though, where did the name Gypsy Freedom come from?
Yeah, I'm so happy you asked that, because I officially gave Gypsy Freedom a definition, and it comes from the word gypsy, which is in the dictionary as a free-spirited individual. Freedom, which means without hindrance or restraint. So Gypsy Freedom, the woman is a free-spirited woman who lives without hindrance or restraint.
Ooh, yes. Unapologetic. Yes.
Unapologetic. I should add that to the definition.
You can look, give me credit though.
Right. What you drinking? Tea? Love that.
So Iris, you know I'm coming out with some tea soon.
I know it.
Your suggestion. But yes, this is fresh mint from my garden.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking it was. Let me get some.
Wine that's like grapefruit wine. It's really yummy. Mm.
Yes, and it goes with the whole vibe of the boutique.
Yeah, Iris is, Caeresa, take advantage of her. She is literally one of the most creative minds I have met in my entire life. So,
no, She rearranged my whole store right the day before it opened. She was like, "We need to put that here, wear that," and I was like, "Oh,
girl." Okay, where can people find Gypsy Freedom? Where do they search for you at?
So I'm on Instagram and Facebook at Shop Gypsy Freedom, and you can shop us at shopgypsyfreedom.com. And you can email us at shopgypsyfreedom@gmail.com.
Caeresa Richardson, finally, we made it happen.
We are so proud of you.
We love you so much.
And thank y'all so much for the support and for what you're doing with the Ladies Room. Honestly, I love what you ladies are doing with this. It's definitely a much needed platform. So keep doing it. Keep doing your job. Y'all doing great.
Thank you.